Will a witch and a bounty hunter be enough to catch a prolific serial killer, or will Detective Vandersee's career end before she can close her first case?
Conversations with indie authors.
See, I'm originally, I'm from Puerto Rico, but my youth was in Buffalo, New York. So I'm with you. I'm comfortable in the snow and the cold. I took my wife up to Buffalo. She lasted a winter and a half, and we ended up right back in Florida again. So
She's like, no.
he's like, nah, hard pass. And it wasn't just the temperature. She's a big beach bum. She needs the sun. She needs her vitamin D from the sun. She needs to go to the beach. And there's just none of that in Buffalo. And you know, it's cloudy like half of the year. She doesn't get any sun. It's just like, nah.
That's really funny. So I love the beach. I love to be next to salt water, like it's a real thing. But I like to go at night. I like it dark. I don't like the sun. I avoid the sun.
Less people too.
Yes, it just works out all around.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just wonderful. My husband's the exact opposite. He's a sun lover. He tans. I'm like, I get a moon tan.
We tend to link up like that. I don't need the sun. Even being Puerto Rican, I get sunburnt very easily. I'm very happy to just be home and not go anywhere. If I go places, it's to make the wife happy. Like that's just how it is.
Yeah, I've done that to make my kids happy, but
Yeah.
going to the beach during the day is like, whoa.
Yeah. It's so hot and
I know. Like,
yeah.
why do you like it?
People.
People.
What are you gonna do?
They don't know the real way to be. Like, we'll just have to
We'll
teach
show
them or
them.
something.
Yeah, we'll show
Yeah,
them. Yeah,
yeah.
this podcast will change everything. Everyone will
Yes,
now know.
obviously. Can you tell me about your what is that flyer poster?
That is a poster of my novel. That's and I'm hitting the microphone. That's this bad boy right here, Shadow of the Spark. The series Mythic is a big like sci-fi fantasy epic series. This first novel is a murder mystery set in that world, and it kind of kicks things off. But it's gonna grow from there. I'm writing the second one right now,
Okay.
and for anyone who's on the fence because it's a big book. It has a lot of words in it. It has a lot of pages, and so folks are like, $5 for an ebook? I don't think so. Or $20 for a paperback? I don't think so. It's like, well, go to my website, get the free prologue for it. It's a nice, cool short story. It has some sample chapters from the novel. It'll wet your whistle. It's free, and if you don't like it, cool. You didn't spend any money. And if you do like it, bam.
That's awesome. I love it. I love that you have a poster for it already put up and everything.
I
And when did it
just
come
yeah.
out? Oh,
It came out in April
okay.
of this year, so it hasn't been a full year yet. It hasn't had its birthday yet,
Oh,
but yeah, since April, and I just put this up a couple of weeks ago, and yeah, just trying to get the space looking, as good as possible for the online shows and whatnot. But
I
yeah,
feel it. Yeah. That is awesome. That is awesome. So what inspired that? Like, take me back to the beginning. Like, where did you come up with I'm gonna do this sci-fi fantasy?
well, I've always wanted to be a storyteller in one way or another. I worked for years on a graphic novel series that never happened because I just wasn't, at least at the time, I wasn't as good a writer as I needed to be to pull off what I was trying to do with that. And I also had like a group of friends that were working on it with me, so it wasn't just my name attached to it, but I was the one writing the scripts, and I just felt really self-conscious about that, and like I didn't want to drag them down with me if it was a colossal, failure. So I, after years and years of working on that, I stepped aside from it. I put it on the back burner, and I decided I'm just going to do my own thing for a while, so that if it, burns and crumbles, it's only me that goes down. So that's a novel. I was like, okay, I can do a novel by myself. No, I don't need an artist or anything. Like I can just do it myself. But I didn't know what I was going to do, and it just kind of happened organically. It's very strange. The short story prologue that I'm giving away for free on the website, it's called The Death and Rebirth of Bella Erdman. I wrote this because, and I don't know if your audience is going to be cool with this kind of a story, but I had a pretty impactful mushroom trip once that really, really changed me as a person and affected my life in very many ways. And I still think about it to this day. It was years ago, and I still think about it. And I needed to write it down. I needed to share it with people, but I hate writing about myself. I don't keep a journal. I've tried. I just can't. I just find myself like so like irritating. I don't want to talk about myself. So instead, I gave that particular experience to a character, this character. And so as I was writing that short story and trying to get that experience out to share it with people, a character that had lived in my head for years that I had tried to put in other things and she never quite worked anywhere popped up here and fit perfectly like a puzzle piece. And it just clicked. I was like, oh, this is a novel. And then I started writing the novel. And about a quarter of the way through the novel, I said, oh, this is a series. Like it just kept growing. So that's what it is. It all stemmed from a really weird mushroom trip. And now it's this crazy sci-fi fantasy. I love sci-fi and fantasy together. A lot of people like to keep those separate. I like to mix those two flavors together. And then I like to use those two particular genres as a backdrop, the world and fill in the world with that genre, but it's not the plot, so to speak. So that's why the plot evolved into this murder mystery thing. Um, but yeah, it all stemmed from that, and like I said, it kind of just grew organically as I was writing it. It just kept growing and telling me that it was bigger. So I listened.
So can you tell us more about that? Like, were you just like, did you just do a trip on shrooms, or was it like a concentrated thing where, you know, how you can go to a psilocybin,
Oh
walk
yeah,
through
yeah.
and they'll like, they'll walk you through it, but it's low dose and that. So
Sure.
what kind of thing was your experience?
No, it was old school. It was me and my buddies just doing stuff. So I had two mushroom experiences before that, but they were very, I came to realize lower doses than the significant one that we're talking about. And in those lower doses, you get the tactile experience, you get some visuals, but overall you're just very calm, you're very relaxed, and you're just kind of having fun with the experience. But then the one that I'm referring to is what most people would call a bad trip, and it happened because we my friends and I, when we were doing this years ago, we would divide up what we had evenly so that we would each take the same amount. And we did that two different times before. On this third time, we divided them evenly, and those even pieces were much bigger than before. But we are like, we're not gonna let it go. So we we
Can't let
delve
it
a
go to
little.
waste.
Yeah, I mean, this is good eating. So before we knew it, we were all much, much deeper than we had planned to be. They were experienced at this sort of thing. I was not. And so I felt a little guilty afterwards because I kind of ruined their trip. They had to sort of take care of me while I was having a very like freak out situation. And so this experience, which was very intense and again, something I would describe in the moment as a bad trip, the second it was over, it was like, oh, that's exactly what I needed to tackle this problem in my personality and this trauma from my past and these problems that I can't seem to deal with. Like, it was just the thing that I needed. And again, like over the course of that year, especially, it just like it informed every decision that I made, informed every change that I made in my life. My wife still tells me that I came home that day a completely different person, a better husband, a better father, just a better person all around. Um,
Yeah.
and that felt like something worth sharing, something worth talking about.
Mhm. I love this whole trend. I think I would say our generation, but I think that spans like, you can go several generations. Are now it's more of a theme of self-development and and more natural. And a lot of people with mushrooms or are finding that it's unlocking a lot of a self-development journey. It's like
Mm-hmm.
unlock like, oh, okay, it's helping them put things together,
Yeah.
understand things in new ways. And I have a lot of authors that are like, they're like going through their dark night of the soul and like really
Mm.
getting into their own self and then writing that story into
Yeah.
like a fantasy or sometimes a memoir.
Sure.
I mean, I think that's fabulous. I love that. I love this trend. Let's work on ourselves. Let's make ourselves the better humans. And,
Indeed. You know,
Yeah.
I don't remember where I heard it. I'm sure it's been said many times before, but you are the main character of your story. You're the lead, you're the hero. And if approach your life in that sense of like, well, if I was the hero of the story, what would the hero of the story do right here? What decision
Mm.
would he make right here? How would he tackle this particular problem? And then just do that. It all tends to work out. And authors, I think, are wisening up to the fact that we are our own main characters. Like, oh, I can use this. I can, these are stories. Working my way up to eventually someday, show running a TV show or directing a movie or something like that. I'd love to do something like that someday. Big
Wouldn't that be
dream of
so
mine.
fun? That would
Yeah.
be so fun.
But that filmmaking stuff, that's what I'm hoping that books like this will get me to. I actually even I learned the structure of a film script, like the story beats that they have to hit, and i
Mhm.
i I outlined every chapter with that format, so that essentially you could take every chapter and turn it into like an episode of television or something like that. That turn the whole novel into a series. And if I can sell it someday to a studio, I mean, the money alone would make it worth it. But if I can get into the writer's room, I'm in. You know, I'm in.
I was just reading actually about that, how that someone did that. They actually
Mm.
took their story and tried to pitch it and it got turned down. So they were like, fine. And they made it into like was it a book series or a YouTube series? I can't remember what it was. And they actually got discovered that way and it
There was
flew off and became famous.
Darren Aronofsky, I believe it was. He directed a movie called The Fountain, and originally when he wrote the script and he pitched it to the studio, they didn't get it. And he had like Brad Pitt lined up to be in it, and like all these big names, and the studio just didn't get it. They kept turning him down. He kept going to different studios. Nobody wanted to make it, so he said, you know what, screw it, I'm just going to turn it into a graphic novel. And he turned it into a graphic novel, this beautiful, beautiful graphic novel with these amazing images in it that just really put all of the wildness of that script into context. And then somebody at a studio found that graphic novel and said, "Oh, this would be a great movie," and they made it into a movie. And it's like, you dum dums, you could have just gone straight there. But we had to go around work around it. So yeah, like sometimes you just got to do that. You just got to carve your own path and let everybody else catch up. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, if anybody connected with this or resonated with it, can you share how we can get a hold of you online?
Absolutely. It's very easy. My online author platform is called Books by Adrian. You can find it at booksbyadrian.com. From there, you can get to everything. All my social media is connected to that. The book, obviously, you can buy the ebooks pretty much anywhere, Amazon, Barnes and Noble, etc. You can get the print books through them as well. I also have signed copies that I can sell through the website. However you want it, I can get it to you, booksbyadrian.com. And once you're there for like more than 30 seconds, that pop up is going to come up to sign up for the newsletter. Hit that up, you'll get some free stuff.
Awesome. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, easy peasy.
Nice. Yeah, thank you so much. I had so much fun getting to know you.
This was fantastic. So it went by so fast. It's done already.
I know.